Hiya Free, I hope you are all well. For today's PE at home lesson, we are working on balancing. You're going to create a balance using multiple body parts. Okay, now before we start our PE lesson, there's a couple of things we need to check. The first PE at home check is going to be our area. Make sure you have a nice, clear and flat area before we get started. Also, we need to make sure that our PE equipment and what we're wearing is appropriate for the activities we're going to be doing today. So make sure you've got a sports top on, sports bottoms and shorts. And the last thing we need to make sure is we have a water to the side of us. There's going to be multiple times that you can pause the video and get yourself a drink when you're doing your PE lesson at home. Once you've done these three things, let's get started in today's PE lesson. If you don't have these three things sorted, pause the video now and go and do them. Now, like every PE lesson we complete at school, we start with a warm-up. That's exactly the same when doing PE at home. We're going to be going through 3 different movements. The first movement being a jog, second movement being a star jump, the third movement being windmills, which I will show you. You're going to be following along with me, so don't worry if you don't know what them movements are. Really important we do a warm-up and we warm all of our body up. Today you're going to be using all parts of your body. Okay, arms, core, legs. So we need to do a full body warm-up, getting that heart around, beating fast, get that blood around our body to increase our heart rate. So again, we're ready for all of the movements and activities we're going to be doing today. So jogging, star jumps and windmills. Again, I'll show you what they are. If you have a nice safe space, you've got a water to the side of you, you're in appropriate PE wear, let's get started. Following along with me, off we go. Simple jog to start with, pumping our arms, driving our knees, head looking forward. Make sure you're doing it in the middle of your space. Going to be a quick warm up today, and we get into our main activity. Drive them knees up, into our star jumps there, straight arms, straight legs. Keep going, well done, great start. If I'm going too quick, doesn't matter, slow yourself down. And speed that you're comfortable with. Keep that head looking forward all the time. Okay, windmills, feet together. We're going to do our upper body movement. Rotate them arms round. Nice big circles. Don't worry about the speed that you're doing them. I'm more worried about your rotation. Big windmills. And backwards. Brilliant. Keep going. And let's go back to the first one, jogging on the spot. Great start. We'll go through their movements 2 more times. Jog, jog, jog. Into our star jumps. Well done. Brilliant, excellent. And into our windmills, feet together. Rotate their arms around, nice big circles. So you're breathing and backwards. Well done. You should already feel that heart rate increasing. Our body should feel nice and warm. And back to a jog. Last time, we're going to go through them all. Jog, star jumps, and windmills, and then we're done for the warm-up. Let's get them knees a little bit higher now. Into a quicker jog. Star jumps. Brilliant, and windmills. Big as you can. Try and brush your ears with your arms as they come forward. And backwards. Excellent, and stop there. Okay, go and get yourself a drink. Pause the video. Okay, so you should have paused the video and got yourself a quick drink. Should all be nice and warm now. Muscles should be stretched. Limbs should be nice and loose. Ready to start our main activity. So like I said today, we're working on balancing. You're going to be going through 1 point, 2 point, 3-point and 4-point balances. Now before we get into any sort of balancing, let's talk about what a point balance is. The number is just telling you the amount of body parts or points you need to be balancing on. So let's start with an easy one, the 1-point balance. Okay, that should look like something like this, where you're balancing on one part of your body, your foot. Arms will be out, you can put your arms, be creative when you're making these balances. Your arms and legs can go wherever you want, but the point balance that you're doing must be where, so this, again, if you're doing a 1-point balance, you should be balancing on one part of your body. A 2-point balance is where you balance on 2 parts. So again, I demo, I'm going to balance on my knee and my opposite foot. So, foot here, knee, and I need to bring this foot, at the moment it's on the floor, but we're doing a 2-point balance. At the moment this is a 3. A 2-point balance is where I balance on one foot or on a knee. So I need to bring that up off the floor of my foot. Arms could go out here because that's going to help me hold my balance. So this is a 2-point balance. You can be creative with the points you use. You can use your hands, elbows, tummy, back, bottom, knees, and your feet. Okay, they're all your points of balance that you can be using. A 3-point balance, I'm going to go down into a press-up position. I'm going to use both of my hands, that's 2. And I'm going to use one foot that's going to be balanced on the floor. My other one will be off the floor. So I'm doing a 3-point balance. So it looks like this. Okay, so that's a 3-point balance, a 4-point balance, balancing on 4 parts of your body. I'm going to show you a simple one. Both hands will be used and both feet. I'm going to do something called a back support. So that looks like this. Okay, so my hands, both hands, that's 2. Both feet are touching the floor. That's my 4-point balance. So what I want you to do now, pause the video and come up with a 1-point, 2-point, 3-point and 4-point balance. Don't use my ones. I want you to be even more creative with the points you use, the shapes you make with your body. We will talk about how we can make these balances really good and strong, because that's important. And then I'll give you your progression after. Pause the video now and come up with your own 1, 2, 3 and 4-point balance. Off you go. Okay, so you should have spent some time going through and creating your own 1, 2, 3 and 4-point balances. Before we go into our progression to make it slightly harder, let's talk about the types of things that you can do to make these balances even better and stronger. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is your core. That is in the middle of your body. It's the most important thing. It needs to stay as straight and as strong as possible. Okay, if you're in a balance and you can't hold your body in a certain position because your core isn't strong enough, you're not going to be able to hold your balance for very long. So you need to tense your tummy muscles in any type of balance that you are doing. The next thing is your head. You need to keep it as still as possible. Okay? A tip that a lot of people say is pick something around the room to stare at. Now that's not an amazing balance tip. The tip is just to keep your head straight. You don't really need to be looking at anything. I can move my eyes around, but it's about keeping that head straight. As soon as you start moving your head, okay, that balance becomes a lot harder. The next thing is about using your body to counterbalance yourself. I'm going to show you a simple balance now where I'm using a certain body part to counterbalance. So 1-point balance here, I'm using my arms to counterbalance myself. Because if I start to tilt this way, I can use this arm to even me out, to pull myself and my body straight again. So counterbalancing is really important. Using your bodies and putting them in certain positions to counterbalance your weight is important. Okay, and the last thing, you need a strong base. So again, let's go into a 1-point balance. My base is my foot. So I need my foot and my legs to be as strong as possible. Just like a tree, its trunk is very solid. You don't see that swaying from side to side. Your base, whatever you're balancing on, it could be your arms, needs to be strong. So tensing their muscles and squeezing your arms or your leg is important in balancing if you're using that body part. Okay? I've just given you some things to help you with your balancing. With them in mind, I want you to pause the video again and try and come up with more creative balances using 1, 2 and 3 point balance and 4 point balances, but focus on them things that I've just told you. Pause the video now and off you go. Okay, now for your progression today, Year 3, you are going to be doing your balancing, but now with a piece of equipment. Now, I'm lucky enough to be at school, so I have all of the PE equipment available to me. You are at home, you may not have a hoop, so I'm going to give you some examples that you could be balancing with. You could balance with a pillow, you could balance with a box, you could balance with a ball, you could balance with a soft toy. So there are some examples that you could use at home to balance with for your progression activity now. Okay, now if you don't have them around you now, pause the video, go and get them. Okay. Now you should have your equipment. Okay, so you should have your equipment now. So let's get into the progression. You are going to create a balance using your piece of equipment in some way. So you can balance it on your body, you can hold it. I don't want it touching the floor. And I want you to come up with a 1 to 4 point balance. It's up to you whether you do 1, 2, 3 or 4. Now this is going to be linked to your challenge. You're going to come up with as many balances as you can using your piece of equipment. And you're going to pick your best balance that you've come up with. You're going to take a picture of that balance and then send it to your year group email. I want to see all of the amazing balances that you come up with. Okay, and then I'm going to pick some of the best ones, and when you get back into school, whenever that may be, I will give some certificates out. I've got loads of certificates to give out to those that are working hard at home, completing their challenges. Okay, so I'll give you a quick demonstration. Again, it's going to be a very simple one. You can come up with a better one than me. Remember, you can go 1 to 4 point balances. It's entirely up to you what you use. You can pick whatever equipment you use as well. Just be as creative as you can. Mine, simple demonstration, I'm going to do a 1 point balance. My hoop's going to go up in the air above my head here, and I'm going to tilt my body to the side. So again, I'm making sure my core is straight, my head is still, and I'm using this arm and my foot out here to counterbalance my body. This leg that I'm balancing on is really tight and strong. Okay, that's going to allow me to balance for a long time to get my picture. Good luck with the challenge. Hopefully I can see you all soon.